بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الناصح الأمين. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد. الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام والسنة. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for the bounty and blessing of Islam and for the bounty and blessing of the Sunnah. Alhamdulillah, we continue going over the tremendous book that was authored by the Fadilatul Shaykh Al-Allama Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan. That book which is entitled Kitab Aqeedatut Tawheed, the book of the Aqeedah of Tawheed. And we're still on the chapter or the section that is dealing with Tawheed Al-Uluhiyyah, the Tawheed that all of the ibadah, all forms and all types of worship belong to Allah and to Allah Jalla wa Ala alone. We reached a very vital section. And all of the sections, bila shak or bila rayb, are of extreme importance and vital. We reached a section, however, that you find many of the Muslims, they are unaware of it. And this is the section which is dealing with the shurut of the shahadatain, the conditions of the true testimonies. And what is intended by shahadatain is a shahada of la ilaha illallah and the shahada of Muhammad Rasulullah. This is what is intended by the shahadatain. And just the mere understanding or reality that the shahada, it has shurut, is something that escapes many of the people. Just the mere understanding that the shahada, it has conditions, it escapes many of the Muslims. They don't know that it has conditions. And conditions must be fulfilled. As the Fadilatul Shaykh Al-Allama Shaykh Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab Al-Wasabi Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he says, وَإِذَا انْتَفَى الشَّرْطُ انْتَفَى الْمَشْرُوطُ, that if the condition is absent or voided, then that which it is a condition for is thus voided. If the condition is not present, then that which it stands as a condition for is subsequently not present. To give you an example, the salah has shurut. The prayer, it has conditions. If those conditions are not met, then that prayer does not count. From the conditions of the prayer is a tahara, that a person has to be in a state of purity. Has to be in a state of purity. If an individual is not in a state of purity, meaning he does not have wudu, for example, then the prayer that he prays will not count. Why? Because he prayed that prayer without fulfilling its conditions. So therefore his prayer does not count. It does not count. Now, ala kulli hal, we understand the connection that if the shart is missing, then the mashrut, that which is the conditions are related to, will not be established. So if the condition is missing, then that which requires the conditions will be non-established. It will not exist. So when one hears this and he realizes now, or they should realize that, wait, so an individual can say La ilaha illallah. An individual can say with his tongue La ilaha illallah, but it won't count. Then the answer would be yes. A person can say La ilaha illallah and it won't count. It will not count for him. When we understand the reality of this, then we know that that's serious. Because we know that La ilaha illallah, that's how a person goes to the Jannah. If he doesn't have that, he can't go to Jannah. So the mere fact that an individual can say it and it won't benefit him is a concern for us now, because we want to say it and benefit. And the way in which the individual will benefit, he has to fulfill his conditions. He has to fulfill his conditions. Those conditions, the Shaykh he mentions, الشروط لا إله إلا الله لابد في الشهادة أن لا إله إلا الله من 7 شروط. It is a must for the testimony of faith that nothing has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah, that 7 conditions must be fulfilled. ولا تنفع قائلها إلا باجتماعها. And the person who says it, he will not benefit unless all of the conditions are present. He has to bring them all together. This is a situation where it's all or nothing. He has to have all the conditions or nothing. The Shaykh he says, وَهِيَ عَلَى سَبِيلِ الْإِجْمَالِ, and to briefly go over them in a summarized manner, the Shaykh he says, the first one, الأول العلم المنافي للجهل, is knowledge that will negate ignorance. Is a type of knowledge that will negate ignorance. Right? This is the first condition. Knowledge that will negate ignorance. The second condition, al-yaqeen al-munafi lishak, is certainty that will negate doubt. A person, when he says La ilaha illallah, he has to, one, know what it means, and he has to be certain about that. Right? So a knowledge that negates ignorance, firstly, and secondly, certainty that negates doubt. A certainty that negates doubt. Third condition, al-qubul al-munafi lil-radd. He has to accept it with an acceptance that will negate a rejection. So he has to accept it with an acceptance that negates a rejection. Now, fourthly, al-inqiyad al-munafi al-tark. It is a compliance that will negate an abandonment. A compliance that will negate an abandonment. Fifthly, al-ikhlas al-munafi al-shirk. It has to be sincerity that will negate an associating of partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it has to have ikhlas, sincerity. Individual, he does it solely, he says it solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That which will negate shirk, will negate an associating of partners with Allah Jalla wa ala. Sixthly, as-sidq al-munafi lil-kadhib. A person has to have truthfulness, the truthfulness that will negate lying. The truthfulness that will negate lying. Naam. وَسَابِعْ, and seventhly, al-muhabba al-munafiya لِضُدِّهَا وَهُوَ al-baghdha. It is to love it, have to have a love the type of love that will negate its opposite, which is hatred and enmity. Which is hatred. Seventh. The sixth one was sidq, truthfulness, and munafi al-kadhib, that negates lying. So all of these seven are needed in order for the shahada to count. All of these seven are needed in order for the shahada to count. And if one of these are missing, then the shahada, it won't count. It won't count. No matter how many times a person says it, if one of these are missing, the shahada, it won't count. Naam. The Shaykh, he says, وَأَمَّا تَفْصِيلُهَا فَكَمَا يَلِي. And with regards to the details about what was aforementioned, then it is as follows. Naam. And Shaykh Fawzan, Fadallahu Ta'ala, after giving us the summary, right? Now he goes into giving us what? The details, because the deen of Islam is by details, right? And when the Shaykh, he says details, this is an indication that what? Now he's going to give you proofs, adillah, because no one can speak about the deen of Islam and don't provide proof. No one has the right to speak about the deen of Islam and they don't give you proof, right? But all the speech, it has to be in accordance to what? To the proof, to the text and evidence. Now, the statements of the ulama, they are not proof. And this is something that is important, is an important concept. Not just in the affairs of aqeedah, but in the affairs of fiqh, and so on and so forth. These statements of the ulama, they are not proof. But rather, the statements of the ulama are in need of proof. And this is a principle of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. The statements of the ulama, they are not proof. But rather, the statements of the ulama are in need of proof. Okay? This is how it is when it comes to aqeedah, how it is when it comes to fiqh, so on and so forth. Because you have those who believe that the statements of the four imams in particular, and this is applicable to all of the imams, right? But in particular, those who believe that the statements of the four imams, then they're all right. The statements of the four imams, they're all right. So whichever one you take, it's okay. This is what some people believe, right? And this is only out of their ignorance and lack of studying, because when one examines the actual statements of these four imams, they'll find the exact opposite. Like how Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, says, إِذَا صَحَ الْحَدِيث فَهُوَ مَذْهَبِي. If the hadith is authentic, then that's my madhab. Meaning that what? If there comes from me something that contradicts and goes against an authentic hadith, then no. The authentic hadith, that's my madhab. Right? And other more explicit statements, like when he said that if I say something that goes against an authentic hadith, then take my statement and throw it away. Right? And so on and so forth. Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, I'm amazed by the people who know the chains and the hadith and what's authentic from not being authentic and so on and so forth, and then they take the opinion of so and so, right? I'll come and call it. It's what you say, paraphrasing. But ala kullin, you find from each of the four imams statements like this. So they didn't tell their followers to blind follow them, but no, they told their followers to take from the proofs and evidences, take from where we took from. That's what they all told you. So we weigh everything based upon the proofs and evidence. So if any scholar, no matter who he may be, if he comes with an opinion that contradicts the proofs and the evidences, then what do we go with? Proofs and evidences. I'll give you an example quickly. There are some from the ulama who say that a woman can marry herself without a need of a guardian, because it's just a contract like any other contract, right? And that if she represents herself in the marriage, then it's okay. She doesn't have a wali, wakil, so it's fine, because she can reside over her own marriage contract. That's an opinion, right? But then we have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he said, لا نكاح إلا بولي وشاهدين, that there is no marriage except with a guardian and two witnesses. So now which one do we go with? The opinion that she can marry herself off without a guardian, or the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned as the condition for the marriage, she has to have a guardian. So which one do we go with? The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, and this is to no disrespect to those who have that opinion, right? But everybody makes mistakes. As the Prophet ﷺ said, "Kul man khata." All the children of Adam, they make errors, they make mistakes, they make sins. The Prophet ﷺ told us that the mujtahid, that when he strives to make an ijtihad, when he's right, he gets what? 2 rewards. But when he's wrong, he gets what? 1 reward. Which shows us that what? That the mujtahid could be wrong. But even when he's wrong, he gets a reward. Why? Because he strove hard to try to find the right answer. He did a lot of research to try to find the right answer. But we human beings, sometimes we don't get it. Sometimes we don't get the right answer. We come up short. But for the mujtahid, he gets rewarded. We're not from those who are mujtahid. You understand? We're not from those who are mujtahid. So we can't come and think we have our own ijtihad. When we're wrong, we're wrong. There's no reward for us when we're wrong. Right? In fact, if we try to make our own ijtihad and we're not for the people mu'ahhilan lidhalik, we're not from those who have the ability and who have the right to do such, then you know what happens? Even when we're right, we're still wrong. Even when we're right, we're still wrong. Why? Because we didn't go about it the right way. We didn't go about it the right way. You understand? Ala kulli hal, we weigh everything according to the proofs and the evidences. We weigh everything according to the proofs and the evidences. But so for the first condition, ilm, person has to have knowledge. The Shaykh says, al-ilm bima'naha al-murad minha. He has to know the meaning of it and that which is intended by it. He has to know the intended meaning. Now, and this is what we went over in last week's class. The meaning of La ilaha illallah, which as a review is La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah, that nothing has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah. Naam. The Shaykh, he says, وَمَا تَنْفِيهِ وَمَا تُثْبِتُ. And we have to know that which will negate La ilaha illallah, so we stay away from it. And we have to know that which affirms La ilaha illallah, so that what? So that we do it. The Shaykh says, Al-munafi li-jahl bidhalik, and that which will negate being ignorant about it. We can't be ignorant about La ilaha illallah. Because if a person were to say it and he didn't know what it means, it won't count. And the proof that we have to have knowledge about it, the Shaykh, he mentions Allah Ta'ala's statement, إِلَّا مَنْ شَهِدَ بِالْحَقِّ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. He says, Allah Ta'ala, he says what means, and this can be found in Surah Az-Zukhruf, in his verse 86. Allah Ta'ala, he says what means, except for those who testify with the truth, and they ya'lamun, and they know. They make the testimony of the truth, and they know. The Shaykh, he says, shahida, what is meant by testify? Shahida bi la ilaha illallah. They testify with la ilaha illallah, that nothing has the right to worship in truth except Allah. Wahum ya'lamun, and this is the point of evidence here in the ayah. Wahum ya'lamun, and they know biqulubihim ma shahidat bihi alsinatuhum. They know in their hearts that which their tongues have bore witness to. فَلَوْ نَطَقَ بِهَا وَهُوَ لَا يَعْلَمُ مَعْنَاهُ وَهُوَ لَا يَعْلَمُ مَعْنَاهَا لَمْ يَنْفَعَهُ. So if an individual were to say it, but he doesn't know its meaning, then it won't benefit him. لأنه لم يعتقد ما تدل عليه, because he doesn't believe in that which it points to. And how could he? He doesn't know what it means. You understand? So if a person were to say it and he doesn't know what it means, then it doesn't count because he doesn't believe in what it points to. He doesn't believe in what it points to. So it doesn't count for him. Right? It's like if you said to an individual who didn't speak the Arabic language, say La ilaha illallah. And he says, okay, La ilaha illallah. Wait, he becomes a Muslim? No. Because he doesn't even know what he said. So it won't benefit him. He doesn't know what he said. So it doesn't benefit him. Right? But he has to know what it means. And the Shaykh in the ulama he mentions elsewhere, كيف تؤمن بشيء تجهله? How can you believe in something that you're ignorant about? How can you believe in it? In order to believe in something, you have to have information. You have to have knowledge about it. If you don't know anything about it, how can you say you really believe in it? You don't know anything about it. Doesn't know what it points to, doesn't know what it means, doesn't know what's necessitated by it, so on and so forth. So how is him saying it going to benefit him when he has absolutely no idea what it means? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Muhammad verse 19, Allah ta'ala says, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Allah commands us in this ayah. And know, have knowledge. Have knowledge. Go seek and acquire that knowledge. Have knowledge that nothing has the right to be worshipped in the truth except Allah. Have knowledge that La ilaha illallah. Now Allah Ta'ala commands us to have knowledge. If we don't have knowledge about it, it's not gonna benefit us. It's not gonna benefit us. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in a hadith, an Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, on the authority of Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, man mata, whoever dies, وهو يعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله دخل الجنة, that whoever dies and he has certain knowledge, he knows that nothing has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah, he will enter into Jannah. Hadithun Sahih Rawahu Muslim, authentic hadith that has been collected by Imam Muslim rahimahullahu ta'ala. So we have to know about La ilaha illallah. Naam. But is that it? We just have to know what it means, know what it points to, know what is necessitated by it, know its pillars, and so on and so forth, know its shurut, and so on and so forth, and that's it? Well, no. Then we have to, secondly, al-yaqeen. We have to be certain about it. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. We have to have certainty. The Shaykh, he says, al-yaqeen بأن يكون قائلها مستيقنا بما تدل عليه, that the one who says it, he is certain about that which it points to. He's certain about that which it points to. The Shaykh, he says, فإن كان شاكا بما تدل عليه لم ينفعه. And if he doubts in that which it points to, it will not benefit him. If a person knows what La ilaha illallah means, but he's not certain of it, he doesn't know, he thinks it may be possibly okay to pray to Buddha too. It might be possibly, fathomably okay to pray to Isa, or to pray to Maryam, or to pray to whoever. It might be okay. Right? Then him saying La ilaha illallah is not going to benefit him. It's not going to benefit him. Why? Because he lost out on this condition. It will nullify his shahada. It will nullify his shahada. Naam. Because when a person says to shahada, he's testifying, bear witness, that nothing has the right to be worshipped in the truth except Allah. But if a person were to add into that, maybe, nothing has the right to worship in truth except Allah, maybe, then it's not going to benefit him. Not going to benefit him. Why? Because he's doubting it. The proof of that is Allah Ta'ala's statement where He says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا. Allah Ta'ala says what means, and verily, and this is إِنَّمَا here, this harf, إِنَّمَا what is meant by it is translated as like verily, a lot of times verily, the believers, they are they who. But innama, you understand from it that verily the believers are only. When you say innama, you understand only. That verily the believers are only those who believe in Allah and His Messenger, and then they do not doubt. They do not doubt. And this ayah can be found in Surah Al-Hujurat, in this verse 15. So here in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He makes it clear that a person has to be upon certainty. Doesn't doubt. And we understand that from Allah Ta'ala's statement, ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا, and then they do not doubt. They don't have no doubt. They know with certainty. They know with certainty. Anything shy of that will not benefit. A person says, La ilaha illallah, but he's not certain, it's not going to benefit him. Not going to benefit him. The Shaykh says, وَإِنْ كَانَ مُرْتَابًا كَانَ مُنَافِقًا. Because if he's one who he doubts it, right, then what? Then he's a hypocrite. He says it, he acts like a Muslim, but in his heart he doubts whether Islam is really true. He doubts La ilaha illallah. He doubts it. He thinks maybe it's okay to go to church and pray to the saints and pray to whoever they pray to in church. Maybe it's okay to go to the temple and pray to whoever they pray to inside the temple. Maybe it's okay. Right? Even though he's going through the actions, he's saying La ilaha illallah, so on and so forth, then this is the hal of who? Of the munafiq. The one who goes through the motion, he said what he's saying, but in his heart he don't really believe. And inside his heart he doesn't really believe. And what adds to this understanding how we know an individual has to be certain, right, is the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith sahih, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, and this hadith has been collected by Muslim as well, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Man laqayta. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was speaking to Abu Hurairah, right, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He was speaking to Abu Hurairah, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Man laqayta wara'a hadha al-ha'id yashhadu an la ilaha illallah mustayqinan qalbuh fabashshirhu bil jannah. That whoever you meet from behind this wall and they testify and bear witness that nothing has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah, and here's the point of reference or the point of evidence, the shahid, right, is that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, mustayqinan, that this individual, he is certain, his heart is certain about it, right? So not just man laqaytu wa hadha ha'id yashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and that's it, no, but also mustayqinan bihi qalbu, or mustayqinan qalbu, his heart is certain about it. He has a certainty. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he said what? فَبَشِّرْهُ بِالْجَنَّةِ. They give him the glad tidings of Jannah. Give him the glad tidings of Jannah. Now, the Shaykh here says, because this is what you understand from it, right? Because if you understand from it, whoever says La ilaha illallah, he says it and his heart is certain about it, then he will enter into Jannah. He deserving, worthy to enter into the Jannah, right? But you also understand the opposite, as the Shaykh he mentions. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَيْقَنْ بِهَا قَلْبُ لَمْ يَسْتَحِقْ دُخُولِ الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever his heart is not certain about it, then he's not worthy to enter into Jannah. Whoever says it, but his heart is not certain, then he's not worthy to enter into the Jannah. Naam. So we have to be certain about it. We have to first and foremost know about it, right? And then we have to be certain about it. Is that it? No. And this here is one of the issues where we start to understand that it's not possible to take one proof in a particular subject and then that's it, right? You can't come to a ruling based upon one proof in a particular subject. But as Shaykh Al-Bani rahimahullah ta'ala, he says you have to have what? All of the proofs and the evidence about that subject before you can reach a ruling. right? Before you can reach a ruling. So it is not just that a person has to have ilm and yaqeen, right? But then he also what? He has to accept it. Qabool. He has to accept it. Because if a person has knowledge about it, and he's certain about it, and then he turns around and rejects it, is that going to benefit him? No, it's not going to benefit him.
It's like Iblis.
Nah, like Iblis. Iblis rejects. He knows. He knows it's the haqq. He has no doubt about that, but he rejects it. So that it doesn't benefit him. Ala kullin. So we have to what? Al-qabul, we have to have an acceptance. لِمَا اقْتَضَيْتْهُ أو لِمَا اقْتَضَيْتْهُ هذه الكلمة, for that which is necessitated by this kalima. For that which is necessitated by this kalima. Naam. Min ibadatullah wahda, that an individual has to worship Allah alone. Because see, just saying La ilaha illallah and knowing this is what it means, but then a person does not accept that which is necessitated by it. What's necessitated by it is that a person must actually what? Worship Allah alone. Not just he says it and then that's it, he doesn't worship Allah, but no, he has to worship Allah alone. And in addition to worshiping Allah wahda alone, tark ibadah ma siwa, he has to leave off the worship of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has to leave off the worship of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is how you find things can negate a person's shahada. So if a person, he says La ilaha illallah, right? But then he turns around and he prays to somebody dead inside of a grave. What has that done? That has negated his shahada. Because what is necessitated by the shahada is that he has to abandon the ibadah of everything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because that's what it means. Sahulillah. La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah. Nothing has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah. So how a person going to say nothing has the right to be worshipped in truth, right? And then turn around and worship something in falsehood? It's going to what? Negate his shahada. It's going to negate his shahada. Because in the shahada he's saying only Allah is to be worshipped. But then he turns around and worships other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that what negates his shahada. So ala kullin, he has to accept that which it points to. The Shaykh, he says, فَمَنْ قَالَهَا وَلَمْ يَقْبَلْ ذَلِكَ وَلَمْ يَلْتَزِمْ بِهِ كَانَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ قَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى فِيهِمْ. Whoever he says it, but he does not accept it, nor does he adhere to it, then he is like those whom Allah Ta'ala says about them, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا إِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ وَيَقُولُونَ أَإِنَّا لَتَارِكُوا آلِهَتِنَا لِشَاعِرٍ مَجْنُونَ. And this ayat can be found in Surah As-Saffat in its verse 35 and 36, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what means. And when it is said to them, say La ilaha illallah, they become arrogant, they become haughty. This is talking about who? It's talking about the polytheists in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, these polytheists, the like of Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab, right? They knew full well what La ilaha illallah meant. They knew what it meant, right? And the proof of that is in that which Allah Ta'ala, He informs us about their statement. And that is, as Allah Ta'ala, He says, وَيَقُولُونَ أَإِنَّا لَتَارِكُ آلِيَتِنَا. And that is in Allah Ta'ala's statement where Allah informs that they said, are we going to leave off our gods? Because they knew, if you say La ilaha illallah, you cannot worship Allah, nor Al-Uzza, nor anything. Except what? Except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was the indication, they knew fully what it meant. They weren't confused about its meaning. They knew with certainty, this is exactly what it means. You're not allowed to worship anything except Allah. But they rejected it. And that's as Allah Ta'ala informs us is in their statement, are we going to leave off our gods for a mad poet? They didn't want to leave. They didn't want to leave and abandon the ibadah of their idols. So they turned away from La ilaha illallah. They did not accept it. So therefore what? It's not benefit. It's not benefit them. Right? A person says, yes, I know what La ilaha illallah, I know what it means, but I still want to worship other things. I don't want to worship Allah, I want to worship other stuff. Then his saying La ilaha illallah is of absolutely no benefit to him. No benefit whatsoever. The Shaykh he says, وَهَذَا the Shaykh he says, and this is like هَذَا كَحَالْ عِبَادُ الْقُبُورِ الْيَوْمِ. He said this is like the people who are grave worshippers today. That this situation is like the grave worshippers of the day. And I want you to pay attention, I want you to listen, I want you to contemplate, right, on what the Shaykh is saying. Because when one looks at the grave worshippers, right, when you say to them, don't worship Badawi, don't worship Hussein, don't worship Abdul Qadir Juyaanee, don't worship this one and that one and that one, what do? They turn away from it. No. You won't have no respect for the awliya. What do you mean? Don't ask Badawi. What do you mean don't slaughter in the name of Badawi? What do you mean don't make istighatha in Badawi? You don't have no respect for the awliya. Is that not turning away arrogantly? You're calling them to what is correct? You're calling them to La ilaha illallah and they tell you, no, we're not going to do that. You don't respect a Badawi. You respect Badawi. We love Badawi, so we're going to pray to Badawi. Ya Salaam. They're turning away. So the Shaykh he says, كَحَالِ الْعِبَادُ الْقُبُورِ الْيَوْمِ is just like the situation of the great worshippers today. Same situation. The difference is that the great worshippers, you find, إِنَّهُمْ يَقُولُونَ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. They say La ilaha illallah. They say it. They say it. But does it benefit them? When they refuse to abandon the worship of Badawi and Hussein and Abdul Qadir Juyaanee and whoever, no, it doesn't benefit them. Because their actions are doing what? It's negating what they're testifying to. They're saying La ilaha illallah in one breath, and then they go on and they slaughtering in the name of Badawi in another breath. They're slaughtering in the name of Hussein. They make an istighatha with Juyaanee and so on and so forth. So therefore what? It doesn't benefit them. Does it benefit them? They turned away. They didn't accept it. Because when you accept La ilaha illallah, you have to abandon the ibadah of everything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter whether it's a prophet or a messenger or an angel or whatever, you have to abandon the worship of anything and everything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh he says that these individuals لا يتركون العبادة القبور. They don't leave off worshipping of the graves. They don't leave it. فلا يكونون قابلين لمعنى لا إله إلا الله. So therefore they do not accept the meaning of La ilaha illallah. They don't accept the meaning. They don't accept it. Right? And this is from another angle, another standpoint. When you come to them and you say La ilaha illallah, it means La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah. They'll turn away and reject that and say no, it means La khaliq wa la raziq wa la mudabbir illallah, to the end of it. They'll say no, it only means that there is no creator, there's no sustainer, and there's no arranger of the affairs except Allah. That's what it means. What you saying, it don't mean that. So what are they doing? The Shaykh he says they do what? They don't accept the meaning of La ilaha illallah. They don't accept it. So that's why it don't benefit them. Because as we said, if a person come and he say La ilaha illallah, means La khaliq, La raziq, La mudabbir illallah, that there is no creator, sustainer, and arranger of the affairs except Allah. Is that sufficient? No. Because that's what? A Tawheed al-Rububiyyah only. The polytheists, they used to believe in Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. You understand? They believe in Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. As we covered in previous classes, right? But with their belief and acknowledgement of a Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, they were still what? Polytheists. They were still mushrikun. So that did not enter them into al-Islam. لَمْ يَدْخِلْهُمْ فِي الْإِسْلام. It did not enter them into al-Islam. So a person, he comes and he tells us that the shahada, it only means the establishment of rububiyyah, then we say no, it's not correct. But it means you have to establish al-uluhiyyah. So the Shaykh he says, so therefore you find that they do not accept the meaning of the shahada. And whoever does not accept the meaning of the shahada, then it doesn't benefit him although he says it. doesn't benefit him. There's no benefit. So we have to accept it with acceptance that negates a rejection of it, an abandonment of it, or a rejection of it. And then the Shaykh, he mentions the next, because if a person, he accepts the meaning, right, and he's certain about the meaning, and he has knowledge of the meaning, and so on and so forth, it's still not enough. But rather he has to do what? Al-inqiyad. He has to be compliant. He has to be compliant to it. He has to comply to it. Now, Shaykh, he says, he has to comply لِمَا دَلَّتْ عَلَيْهِ. He has to comply to that which it points to. قال الله تعالى, Allah Ta'ala, he says, وَمَنْ يُسْلِمْ وَجْهَهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Whoever he submits his face to Allah, whoever submits his face to Allah, and he is muhsin, then verily he would have grabbed hold onto the most trustworthy handhold. Now, and then he will have taken hold of the most trustworthy handhold. Now, so we have to what? We have to have a compliance to it that will negate a leaving of it, an abandonment of it. Now, so in addition to having a acceptance that negates a rejection, we have to have a compliance that will negate an abandonment. And Urwat al-Wuthqa is mentioned here in this ayah and in other places. Ma'na, the meaning of it, the most trustworthy handhold, that it is La ilaha illallah. The most trustworthy handhold is La ilaha illallah. So Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يُسْلِمْ وَجْهَهُ. Whoever submits his face. Whoever submits his face. And this ayah can be found in Surah Luqman in his verse 22. Whoever submits his face. Right? The submitting of one's face is what? An individual being compliant to it. He's being compliant to it. وَهُوَ مُحْسِن. And he's one who is muhsin. The ulama, they say that from the meaning of muhsin here in this ayah, from the Shaykh Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab al-Wasabi, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he says that what is intended and meant by muhsin, or from that which is intended by muhsin here in this ayah, is what? Is muwahhid. Is a person who's upon Tawheed. He implements the Tawheed. He establishes Tawheed. Now, if a person submits himself, when a person submits himself, this is him being what? Compliant to it. He's being compliant to La ilaha illallah. He submits himself to it. Right? And he's one who's muwahhid. He's one who is implementing Tawheed. So he's leaving off the shirk, abandoning the shirk, and he's worshipping Allah Ta'ala alone. Allah Ta'ala, he says, فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ. Then at that point, he has taken hold of what? The most trustworthy handhold. And the most trustworthy handhold is what? La ilaha illallah. You see? But he has to be compliant. If he's not compliant to it, then he has yet to take hold. Can't take hold if he's not compliant. Right? So in other words, if he's not compliant, there's no inqiyad. If he's not compliant for La ilaha illallah, then he has yet to take hold. He has yet to benefit from La ilaha illallah. He has yet to benefit from La ilaha illallah. The Shaykh, he says, وَمَعْنَى يُسْلِمْ وَجْهَهُ. And the meaning that he submits his face, أي ينقاد لله بالإخلاص له. Meaning that he is compliant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by having sincerity for him, by having sincerity for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Which is also another condition that we will come to inshallah. But he has to comply and be sincere. Fifthly, al-sidq. He has to deem it to be true. He has to deem it to be true. Because if an individual were to have knowledge about La ilaha illallah, the type of knowledge that negates ignorance, right? And he would be certain, have a certainty of the meaning, the type of certainty that negates doubt. And he will accept it with the type of acceptance that will negate rejection. and he will be compliant to it with a type of compliance that will negate abandonment. But then at that point, he deems it to be not true. Does it benefit? No. It doesn't benefit him whatsoever. The Shaykh, he says, الصدق وهو أن يقول هذه الكلمة مصدقا بها قلبه. He has to say this kalima and his heart is truthful about it. His heart deems it as being true, and he is truthful about it. He's true when he says it. Right? From another standpoint, if a person were to comply 1 through 4, and then it comes to 5, and he says it, but he's not true, that's not what he truly feels, that's not what he truly believes, it doesn't benefit him. Even if he goes through the motions, he don't believe, then it's not going to benefit him. The Shaykh, he says, فَإِنْ قَالَهَا بِلِسَانِهِ, if a person were to say with his tongue, وَلَمْ يَصْدُقْ بِهَا الْقَلْبُ, but in his heart he doesn't deem it to be true. In his heart he's not truthful about it. He says it with his tongue, but in the inside he don't really believe in it. On the inside, that's not what he believes in. That's not what is truthful internally. So you find an individual that his external picture is different from his internal picture, right? What he shows externally is different from what is inside his heart. Because with his mouth, he's saying belief and acting belief with his limbs, but inside of his heart, he doesn't really believe. He doesn't deem it to be true. In his heart, he lying, right? He lying. In his heart, he belies it. He belies La ilaha illallah inside of his heart. Who is this like? Is it like who? The munafiqun. Nah, the Shaykh says, Kal munafiqan kadiban, like the lying hypocrite. This is what the lying hypocrite he does. He says La ilaha illallah, but inside his chest he don't believe in it. Inside of his chest he doesn't deem it as being true. He's not truthful. He says it and he's lying. He's a liar. Allah Ta'ala, nah.
So their inqiyad and qabul would just be outwardly.
Just outwardly, nah. Yeah, outwardly they act like they accept it. Outwardly they act like they're compliant to it, but inwardly they don't accept it. Inwardly they don't believe. Inwardly they're not truthful. They deem it as being not true. They don't believe on the inside, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا, and from human beings are those who say مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا, who say we believe. We believe in what? آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, they say we believe in Allah on the last day, right? And this is something that's important, and it's a reminder for us that we have to make sure that the external and the internal match. We have to make sure the external and the internal match. That we believe on the inside, and we bring forth that belief. And we have to understand that just because a person says it's such, don't mean it's so. Some people believe like just because we say we're Muslim, and that's it, we're Muslim. We say we're Muslim, that's it, right? And of course, we're speaking in terms of reality. As far as we're concerned, what we judge on the zahir. We take a person for what he shows. He shows iman, we take him like that, because it's only on us to judge according to what we know. We only know what we see. We don't know what's inside his heart. We don't know what he believes really in his heart, but we deal with him based on what we see. But people have to understand that the perception doesn't always equate to reality, meaning when it comes to themselves, right? The perception doesn't always equate to reality. Just because the perception is that you're a believer doesn't mean you're a believer. Just because the believers treat you like a believer doesn't mean you are a believer. And this is from the ways in which we can check ourselves. The true believer is scared of this. As the ulama, they explain, the Salaf, they used to say, nobody fears nifaq, nobody fears hypocrisy except the true believer. And nobody feels safe from hypocrisy except the hypocrite. If you ask a true believer, hey, do you have any aspects of nifaq with you? You have any type of hypocrisy with you? The true believer is gonna pause. He's scared. He's gonna think, reflect. When I do what I do, is it only for Allah? The true believer is gonna be scared that maybe he's coming up short. The true believer is gonna be scared that he has some hypocritical tendencies. The true believer is gonna be scared. He's gonna pause. He's gonna be scared. The true believer, he worries about nifaq. This is why you find that Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he would go to Hudayfa, who was the companion of the secret. He would ask him, did the Prophet ﷺ mention me? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he told Hudayfa the names of the hypocrites. So Umar, and mind you, Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was promised Jannah. But with that, he was scared. Some of us, ya Salaam, we don't know how to act. That's because we got some issues with our ikhlas. Some of us, the shaykh, he say something good about you, that's it. He the man, I'm the man now. Shaykh, you praise me, I'm the man. Never go astray. Some people act like that. Right? Because the shaykh praise him, I can't go astray. I got connection with the shaykh. You gotta watch out. I go tell the shaykh some stuff about you, man. Get you in trouble. Some people think like that, arrogant. How many people were praised by the ulama, now they are straight? Look at Fawzi Athari. Was not a time he was praised by the ulama. Look at him now, head daddy. Abdurrahman Mukhaliq. Was not a time he was praised by the ulama. Now is a time, look at him now, Ikhwani. Right? So on and so forth. Fal Harbi. Was not a time he was praised by the ulama. Look at him now, head daddy. And so on and so forth. Hajuri. Was not a time he was praised by the ulama. Look at him now. Ala kulli hal. The one who has ikhlas, he's always concerned about his Lord Jalla wa ala. Because Allah Ta'ala, He knows. You can't fool Allah. Allah knows. So the one who has ikhlas, this one, he is concerned. Because the reality of it is that if the people are unpleased with you, it means nothing if Allah is pleased with you. Right? Look at how many people was unpleased with Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala. Look how many people was unpleased with Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala. But did that change what they were upon? Did they waver because they wanted people to be pleased with them? No, but they stuck to what was right. Because the only thing they was worried about was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Because if you rectify your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will put everything else in place. So now you look at the final outcome of Imam Ahmad, you look at the final outcome of Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, meaning in the eyes of the people. Now what? All the way to this day, so many hundreds of years after their death, they're beloved by Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he died in jail. But we know the name of Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Those ones who lied and conspired to get him in prison, only the historians and the ulama and the tulab al-ilm know who they are. The common person, they don't know none of them. They have no relevance in the life of a Muslim on a day-to-day basis. But Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, all the houses got the books of Shaykhul Islam in there. Right? Of Ahlul Sunnah, we mean. And so on and so forth. But yeah, ala kullin, who was the victor? Imam Ahmad, Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Right? And those, and this is the reality. Sometimes good people, they get dealt with in a bad way. But Yawm al-Qiyamah, who's going to be the winner? The good people, those who have taqwa. Al-Aqeedatut, lil-Muttaqeen. The end of the affair is for who? It's for those who fear Allah. It's So for those who fear Allah, so whatever was taken from them in the dunya will be given back to them Yawm al-Qiyamah. And for those who fear Allah, for them is what? Is the Jannah. So it has to be sidq. The person has to always be checking and double checking. Because as mentioned, the only person who fears hypocrisy is the believer. Whereas the hypocrite, he's the only one who feels safe. He's the only one who feels safe from hypocrisy. The hypocrite, you say, hey, you a hypocrite? No, never. Hypocrite swear he's not a hypocrite. Only a hypocrite is like that. Whereas the one who truly fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's always fearing for himself nifaq. The Sahaba used to be scared for themselves nifaq. They would constantly look back to their deeds and so on and so forth. Right? How many times you find people just and the slips of tongues and so on and so forth come out? Oh, to be abyad. My heart is white. I got a white heart. I got a pure heart. This and that. You hope so. You don't know. You hope you got a pure heart. Yeah, Salaam. We know a person, when he make a sin, he get a dot on his heart. When he make tawbah, get erased. Do you understand people will come Yawm al-Qiyamah with sins that they forgot about? Stuff they did, they forgot about. Right? I give you an example. Imam al-Shafi'i, one time he was inside the souk, and then he came to Aqeedatut, his sheikh, the great Imam, rahimahullah ta'ala, and he complained to Aqeedatut. شكوت إلى وقيع سوء الحفظ فأرشدني إلى ترك المعاصي. This famous line of poetry came. He said he went to Aqeedatut and he complained about his memory. That he was going to memorize something in that day and he realized something's off. Something is off. I don't know what happened. Something's not right. I'm not able to memorize as quickly as before. So he came to Aqeedatut and he complained about his weakest memory. So Aqeedatut, he said فَأَرْشَدَنِي إِلَى تَرْكِ مَعَاصِي. So he guided me to leaving off sin. Because when he came to Aqeedatut and he said, something's wrong with my memory, he said, then you must have did a sin. But right off the back, Imam al-Shafi'i, he didn't recall. Right? It's in the lines of poetry. يعني وأشهدني أن علم نور الله وأن الله لا يعطي نوره إلا وأن النور لا يعطي إلى العاصي. And then he informed me that verily the knowledge is the light of Allah, and that the light is not given to a sinner. Right? على كل حال, when he sat and he contemplated, he realized what had happened when he was in the souk. He realized what had happened. You understand? And Allah musta'an, what he just happened to gaze upon with his eyes from the lower ankle region of the young lady, Ya Salaam, that was it. So now you're talking about us now. You go to Walmart right now, you in trouble. Right? You know it, especially that one right there in the corner. You go there right now, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So you're going to go to Walmart to buy milk and eggs. Then you come out and going to puff your chest up and swear, Qalbi Abiyad. You know how much stuff you just seen just from the dairy aisle to the register? And you going to talk about Qalbi Abiyad? You hope so? We don't know. See, the true believer, he's scared. He don't know. He hopes so. That's why he's constantly making istighfar. He's constantly asking Allah to forgive him day and night. Asking Allah to forgive him day and night. Asking Allah to forgive him, making tawbah, making istighfar. You don't find him arrogant. My heart is white. We hope so, but we don't know. Ala kulli hal, just because a person say it don't make it so. Because you got people, especially those who are born and raised Muslims, who believe like I'm Muslim, I'm always going to be Muslim, can't nobody tell me I ain't a Muslim, and that's it. Just because we say so, right? Allah Ta'ala says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَيَوْمُ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah Ta'ala says, and from mankind are those who say, we believe in Allah on the last day. Allah Ta'ala says, but they are not believers. They're not believers. يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah Ta'ala says, they try to trick Allah and those who believe. They try to deceive Allah and those who believe. وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُم, but they only trick themselves. They only trick themselves. Until Allah Ta'ala's statement, وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ, and they will have a tremendous torment because of what they used to lie. Because how they used to lie. By saying they believe, but in their chest they didn't believe. عَلَى كُلٍّ, so we know we have to be truthful. We have to be truthful. وَالشَّرْطُ السادس, and the sixth condition, al-ikhlas. A person, he has to have ikhlas, sincerity. وهو تصفية العمل من الجميع شوائب الشرك, and that is the cleansing of the actions from all aspects of shirk. A person, he cleanses his actions from all aspects of shirk. The Shaykh, he says, بأن لا يقصد بقولها طمعا من مطامع الدنيا, meaning that he doesn't intend by saying La ilaha illallah some worldly gain from the dunya. He doesn't have a worldly hunger, and this is why he's saying La ilaha illallah, because he thinks that, he can get money with the Muslims, do good business, or whatever the case may be. He can't do it for that. The Shaykh, he says, وَلَا رِيَاءَ وَلَا سُمْعَةَ, and he can't say it showing off. He can't say it showing off, nor can he say it so that it may be heard or said about him that he has done such and such. So he's talking about deeds where there's no showing off. He's not doing something so it can be heard about him that so and so has done such and such, and so on and so forth. He can't do it anticipating a worldly gain. No. But it's only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not doing it because he want to marry a woman, or a woman's not doing it because she want to marry a man, right? But they're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you find some people like that, they take shahada because they want to get married, right? And then soon as what happens to married couples happens, the people who's married, they argue time to time, correct? They argue. Sometimes they don't agree. They may not like each other, right? But these individuals, these suspect ones, they come out. As soon as they get into an argument, I don't know about this religion. I know what you mean about the religion. Because you mad at him? Or because you mad at her? Now you doubting the deen? How? Because they spoke bad to you? Because they threw your piece out? Now you don't know about the deen? Why you accept the deen? Why you accept? Let's go back now. Let's retract. Why did you accept the deen to begin with? Because it don't sound like you accept. Because the person that accepts the deen, no matter how that person treat him, don't treat him, and so on and so forth, they don't care. Look, I'm with you, not with you. I'm still gonna be Muslim. I ain't become Muslim for you. Married to you, divorced from you, whatever. I'm still Muslim. I ain't become Muslim for you. Right? You're nice to me, mean to me. I'm still gonna be Muslim. I become Muslim for you. When they start playing them games, all this, you see the deen, this is Islam. That's a person suspect. But we have to do it sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah ta'ala alone. From the proofs and evidences that all of our religion has to be sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala, He says, فَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ, and worship Allah alone, making all of the religion sincere for Him only. And this can be found in Surah Az-Zumar, in verse number 2. And Allah Ta'ala's statement, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ حُنَفَاءَ, and they were only commanded to worship Allah alone, making all of their religion sincere for Him, those who turn to Allah and implement the Tawheed and turn away from the shirk. Hunafa is Surah Al-Bayyinah, verse number 5. So we've been commanded to have sincerity, to do things for Allah and for Allah only. Do it for Allah and for Allah only. So we stand to pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not because we're in the masjid with the brothers. Not just because Father's there, Father's looking. Not just because father-in-law is there. So now I'm going to act, like a real good Muslim for my father-in-law's here. I don't think, No, forget all that stuff. You do it for Allah and for Allah alone. You do it for Allah and for Allah alone. And when it comes to ibadah, the ulama, they mention from the ways that an individual he can check himself is that whatever he do in private should be similar to what he do in public. Be in private and then you recite Surah Asr and Surah Ikhlas, right? And these type of surahs and all your salawat, and then you come to the masjid now, you want to bust out the last page of Baqarah, you want to recite Surah Naba, Nazi'at, right? Person wants to recite all the Surah Hujurat, and you was by yourself, you recite Qul Allahu Ahad. It's an indication, right? But in any event, if an individual he finds that he's in a situation where, like that, then how do you resolve that? Person is saying, I'm not going to recite Surah Qalam now. So you leave it off? No, you don't leave it off. You fight yourself to have sincerity for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you recite Surah Qalam for Allah. Right? You recite Surah Al-Waqi' for Allah. You don't leave it off. You don't say, no, you recite it for Allah. You fight yourself and you rectify your intentions. It's very important. You fight yourself and you rectify your intentions. But yeah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ حَرَّمَ عَلَى النَّارِ مَنْ قَالَ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ يَبْتَغِي بِذَلِكَ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. And this hadith is authentic and has been collected by Bukhaari and Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that whoever, or that verily Allah has made the fire prohibited upon the one who says La ilaha illallah, and they only intend by that the face of Allah. They say La ilaha illallah, they only intend by it the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They only intend the face of Allah. Naam. So we have to have sincerity when we say La ilaha illallah. It has to be for Allah and for Allah alone. If it's for something else, some worldly gain, or for some woman or something like that, وَإِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, really actions are by their intentions. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَىٰ, everybody will have that which he intended. Seventh is mahabba. We have to love this kalima, mahabba li hadhihi al-kalima. We have to love this kalima. Not that a person he says it but then he hates it. He has to love La ilaha illallah. وَلِمَا تَدُلُّ عَلَيْهِ, and he has to love what it points to. Because you have some people who love it, they love saying it, but they don't love what it points to. An example of that is a Sufiya. The Sufiya loves saying La ilaha illallah. Inside the urud you find La ilaha illallah. But when it comes to what it points to, no. Something totally different now. Because they still praying to the awliya, they still making all these shirkiyat and so on and so forth. So you have to love it and you have to love what it points to. وَلِأَهْلِهَا الْعَامِلِينَ بِمُقْتَضَاهَا, and you have to love who? You have to love its people. You have to love the people of Tawheed. Those people who are acting in accordance with that which La ilaha illallah points to. You have to love them. You have to love them. How you not going to love someone and that person is striving his hardest to establish Tawheed? How you not going to love him? You got to love him. You have to love him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, which shows us that we have to love La ilaha illallah. Allah ta'ala, he says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَتَّخِذُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. And from mankind there are those who take others as partners with Allah and they love them like they should love Allah. Naam. وَيُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. They love them like they should love Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. But those who believe, they love Allah more. Those who believe, they love Allah more. And this can be found in Surah Al-Baqarah in this verse 165. The Shaykh says, فَأَهْلِ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ يُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ حُبًّا خَالِصًا. The people who say La ilaha illallah, the people who are truly upon La ilaha illallah, they love Allah with a love that is sincere for Allah. They love Allah and Allah alone. Right? In this regard. وَأَهْلِ الشِّرْكِ But the people of polytheism, يُحِبُّونَهُ وَيُحِبُّونَ مَعَهُ غَيْرَهُ, they love Allah, but then they love along with Allah other than Allah. So they love Allah, but then also they love their saints. They love Allah, but then also they love the rocks or the idols or the whatever. So their love is split. Their love is split. Right? But whereas the people who truly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not split. We love Allah alone. Because what? La ilaha illallah. Nothing has right worship and truth except Allah. Everything else that is worship other than Allah, we disbelieve in it. It's batil. We don't believe in it. Right? So we give it no love. The Shaykh, he says, those who make shirk, they love along with Allah other than Him. وَهَذَا يُنَافِي الْمُقْتَضَى لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and this negates that which is necessitated by La ilaha illallah. This action of this negates what's necessitated by La ilaha illallah. So we have to love La ilaha illallah. We have to have love for it. And that which it points to in its people. And then the ulama, they mention an 8th condition. Shaykh Fawzan, ta'ala, he brought 7. And many of the ulama, they bring 7. Because they say that the 8th condition is understood within those 7. Right? Which is true. So a person says 7, he's right. He's right. But likewise, if a person were to take that which is understood and articulate it, he's right too. So some of the ulama, they say, and there's an 8th condition. There's an 8th condition. And the 8th condition requires from us disbelief. The 8th condition requires that we disbelieve in some things. Right? And what that is, the 8th condition is kufr with Tawheed. It's to disbelieve in the idols and false deities. That from the conditions of La ilaha illallah is that we have to disbelieve in the false deities. That for the false deities we make kufr in them. Right? We make kufr in them. And the dalil for this is Allah Ta'ala's statement that can be found in Surah Al-Baqarah in its verse 256, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. And whoever disbelieves in the idols, he disbelieves in the false deities, and he believes in Allah, then he would have taken hold and grabbed onto the most trustworthy handhold. But it's for the one who does what? He disbelieves in the Tawheed, disbelieves in the false deities, and he believes in Allah, then he would have taken hold of the most trustworthy handhold. And what is the most trustworthy handhold? What is it? La ilaha illallah. Naam. So we have to have what? Kufr in the Tawheed. We have to disbelieve in the Tawheed. Disbelieve in them. Naam. Tayyib. These are the conditions for La ilaha illallah. And the ulama, they have put them in 2 lines of poetry so that we can understand and memorize them and have them wherever we go. Right? It's 2 lines of poetry. In fact, 1 line of poetry contains all 7. And the 2nd line of poetry brings the 8th. Right? So this is something that we can really keep with us and take it wherever we may go, inshallah ta'ala. We'll say it, and then after class we can go over it more for the brothers who are here while we over the dinner. طيب. على كل حال. Those lines, they are علم يقين وإخلاص وصدقك معه محبة وانقياد والقبول لها. It's 1 line. وزيد ثمانها كفرا منك بما سوى الإله من الأشياء قد أوليها. 2nd line. That's it. Those are 2 lines. Very, very easy, right? طيب, we go one more time. علم يقين وإخلاص وصدقك معه محبة وانقياد والقبول لها. Knowledge, certainty, sincerity, and your truthfulness coupled with love, a compliance, and acceptance for it. That's how many? 7. Then the next line it comes and it says, and its value is increased with the disbelief that it comes from you for all of the deities other than Allah that have been taken as gods, for lack of a better term. Right? That its value is increased by the disbelief that emanates from you for all of the deities other than Allah that have been taken as gods. For lack of a better term. There's probably a way better way to translate that, and I apologize for that. But ala kullin, we'll get it down in Arabic, right? And that'll suffice. We understand that. That'll suffice. This way, you can kick away the translator and the translation, inshallah ta'ala. You just stick to the Arabic, right? That's the way it should be anyway. But ala kullin, here you have all of the conditions mentioned therein, and then we come to the next portion. Because remember, it was shahadatain, was shurul shahadatain, the conditions for both of the shahadas. So now we come to the second shahada, was shurut shahada anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, the conditions for the testimony that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the messenger of Allah. ولكن نكتفي بهذا القدر ونتوقف هنا. نكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله عليه وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وإلى اللقاء.